125,000 miles on it, and first thing you got to do, oh yeah, now we're ready to party.
How did I know?
This is a 2017 Mustang GT 5-liter with the notorious MT82, and with 125,000 miles on it, and it still has a stock clutch, stock transmission, the original one. I have not blown it up. Now I say that, it's probably gonna blow up, but it's still all original to this car. Never gets old. I bought this car January 28th, 2017. It was brand new. 6 miles on it when I test drove it, and at 12 miles when I drove it off the lot. I was not looking for this car. I had a 2012 Mustang GT with the MT82, 373 gears, had a Cobra Jet intake, had nitrous, all that. That car sadly ended up in a ditch. So for my next car, I was thinking, I don't want another Mustang. I want something else. I want something else. I'm not biased. I got an LSX shirt on right now. Not biased. I was looking at Challenger Scat Packs, and I would have gotten one if the dealerships all around here didn't have anything but silver or red. And that's all they had, silver and red. Do not want either one of those two colors. So I set off, you know what? I needed something quick. So I set off, I started looking. Like, oh, what about a Corvette? So I test drove two C6 Corvettes. One was a Grand Sport, one was a base model, both with 6 speeds, both LS3s. I liked them, but I didn't fall in love with them. Not like when I test drove my first 2012 Mustang GT. Just something about that one is just like, whoa, this car feels right. Went to the Ford dealership, see if I can maybe find another 2012-ish Mustang. Didn't intend on test driving or buying a new Mustang when I did. Gotta go. Jeez. So I went to the local Ford dealership, and I knew if I was going to get a Mustang, I knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted a 6-speed, and I knew I wanted 373 gears. So I just browsing at the new Mustangs. Before I even looked at the used stuff, I was just browsing at the new ones. I know Ford puts a little sticker on their rear ends to tell you what the rear gear is. So I'm crawling underneath. They had about 8 of them, 8 brand new Mustangs, and like 5 of them were GTs. So I'm crawling underneath each one. It's like, I only want it if it has 373s. So I'm crawling underneath the first one. Oh, no, 315s. Ooh, don't want that one. Crawled underneath the next one, 355s. Okay, we're getting a little bit better. Crawled underneath the next one. Ooh, 308s. Ooh, no thank you. So then I crawled underneath the last one, and the last one I didn't look at because I thought it was probably going to be the most expensive one. because it had the black wheels and, you know, the performance pack stuff on it. I'm like, okay, this one's probably going to be expensive. This is not for me. But I looked at it anyway, and sure enough, it was white, black wheels, 373 gears. It's like, man, please don't be expensive. And I actually looked it up, and after looking at it, it was the cheapest one out of all the GTs in the lot, and had everything that I wanted. Get the old Starbucks for the wife. This car's been my daily driver ever since. Kind of a funny thing, when we were filling out the paperwork for this car, you know, filling out all your warranty stuff, and the guy's wanting to upsell me. He's wanting to upsell me on all the fancy stuff, and, you know, you can get this and this to cover this and that. And I said, guy, I'm about to void this warranty this week. So if I remember right, it was a Monday or Tuesday I bought the car. I believe it was a Monday. And that night I ordered full stainless works exhaust, headers back, with the X-pipe. That arrived at my house on a Thursday. It was on Thursday night. Friday, this thing was loud and it was ripping. A few weeks later, I bought a Roush cold air intake. And I don't know if you know about those. They have a cone for when it's completely stock or on the stock tune. And then you can take that cone out, and it allows bigger diameter for more airflow into your intake. So I took that out. I'm like, I want the most power as possible, the most air shoved in there. It's got to be the best. So that was a mistake. I had not had it tuned at that point. One night we're driving, we're in heavy traffic in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and we went to a concert. We were just going to drive home because it's not that far from us, but it's still a couple hours. So we're in traffic. We're pulling over at each hotel on the strip. We're like, well, you know, let's just stay the night. I don't feel like driving home. We're both exhausted. We went to a concert. We were driving. We just want to go to bed. By doing that, I'm stopping, then getting back into traffic, stop and get back in traffic. Nobody had a hotel room. Nobody. And during that time period, I keep watching my gauge, and it got up to 232. And I'm like, whoa, that seems a little high. So, being that it's all aluminum block and aluminum heads, that's a little alarming, and it was not going down. So I decided to pull over. And when I did, I pulled over into a little rough area, and I shouldn't have, but I did. And so we sat there for about 5 minutes watching the temperature. It went down to about 225. I tried to start it, and it would not start. So we're like, oh my God, what did we do? And come to find out, when you take that cone out of the Roush intake and not put a tune on it, it will run lean and it'll run hot. After exhaust and cold air intake, I did finally put a tune on it. Just a handheld SCT, nothing fancy. I decided to lower it and put just about every single suspension product that UPR and BMR make. Coney shocks on it. It's quick, but it's not fast. My old 2012 Mustang GT with nitrous and the Cobra Jet intake, that car was fast. This car just feels a little mediocre against that car. But I will say, since I do daily drive this car, the independent rear suspension is a much better daily driver than the solid axle in the old car. It takes turns so much better. It's actually more fun to drive on the street most times. I do have a Barton short throw shifter in it. People always ask me, why didn't you get the MGW? MGW is better. I chose Barton because when they first started coming around, I went to Mustang Week, and I actually met with Joseph, and they actually didn't even have instructions for with their product on it. And they had, you know, 5.0 GTs, and then they had GT 500s, and, you know, that was back then. I think that's all they had. They may not have, but from what I remember, I mean, it was Mustang week, so of course they're gonna have the Mustangs there. Got the shifter off of him. He even gave me his personal email, so I reached out to him and I said, I just want to make sure I'm doing this right. Can you give me any tips, or do you guys have any instructions yet on how to install this shifter, just in case I run into any issues? So he replied back almost immediately. He said, I'm wrapping up a video for YouTube. He said it should be out very shortly, and he sent me a link. Now, that to me, I appreciate. That's service, and that's quality. And I had, overall with my old car, I had about 60,000 miles with that shifter in it. I've had this shifter in here since I had about 10,000 miles, and I got almost 125 right now. Gas mileage. Everybody tells me, oh, it's a Mustang, big V8. I bet it gets terrible gas mileage. No. I drive this thing to Ohio at least once a year, sometimes twice a year, and it averages, going all the way up 77, I average about 27 miles to the gallon. At best, I've gotten 29, 30. I fill up Monday, and I don't have to fill up again until Friday. And I drive 42 miles one way to work. This is a great car. Absolutely great. The only service I've ever done to this car is coolant, oil changes, tires. That's about it. I expect it to go probably do 200,000 before something really goes wrong. The clutch may go before that, but I don't really consider that a big issue. It's not that expensive, time consuming, but once you do it, you're good for a long time, as long as you don't beat it. Now, when it comes to beating on your car, I have not driven this car lightly. Not even the slightest. Almost every day, those tires may get a little loose. Through all of its life, I've had friends drive it, and I tell them, you've seen the way I drive it the way you want to drive it. Don't go easy on it. It's a Mustang. They build these things to handle some sort of abuse. Now, when you're banging off the rev limiter and stuff like that, that's just being irresponsible. Come on, everybody knows that. But could be fun. Not to say that this car lived off the rev limiter, but it has reached red line many times. This car has been drag raced. There's something that never gets old. It's a little wet out there. Never gets old. This morning, it's a little wet out here. It's a little wet. It's alright. Little tire spin. Heat up the tires. Once they're heated up, then you go. Well, that's kind of a benefit of living kind of far away from work. I got 42 miles one way, so I got quite a few back roads before I even hit the highway. So there's a lot of twists and turns, sharp turns that you know that you can just drop a gear and just like you can just hug those turns, and this car is so much fun with that. The noise never gets old. It never gets old. Growing up, I did not even like Mustangs. I was raised in a Mopar or no car kind of family, with the exception that my mom has had pretty much every single style Firebird available. When I was originally looking for a car, Mustang was kind of at the bottom. I always kind of liked them, but I wouldn't really say, especially around my folks, because Mustangs were kind of, oh, everybody's got one, and they all sound like they're tinny, and oh, they're slow, woo, boo, woo, woo. But I always kind of liked them. Set out to buy my first Mustang. I really wasn't looking for that. I was, but I wasn't. I was looking for a Challenger RT or a 98-02 Trans Am. And I was looking at the GTOs, but something about the GTOs I just didn't care for. And now we own one, and I love it. Couldn't get finance for the Challenger, and then I went to go buy this 01 Trans Am. It was selling as I pulled up, so I missed out on that one. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna go test drive a Camaro. I couldn't see out of it. I'm 5'10". I'm a little guy. I couldn't see out of it. The windows are like so high over here. Something. So I'm like, you know what? Last resort, I'm gonna go test drive a Mustang. And I did, and I instantly fell in love. Well, that about wraps it up. 125,000 miles on a 2017 Mustang GT daily driver that is basically a full bolt-on. It has been a great car, and I expect it to be a great car for many years to come. I do not have any plans of getting rid of this car, but only to add to the collection. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and you guys take it easy. We'll see you next time.